If you would like to keep up with me outside of YouTube, I am now writing on Substack. It's called The Letter Form, and I am talking typography, design notes, and more on visual culture. Check it out and subscribe for free. The new trend going into 2026 is getting off of our devices and going analog, and this is stretching into all parts of our lives. People are now returning to reading physical books, buying physical media like DVDs, CDs, even tapes. They're using paper calendars, keeping diaries, and some are even going so far as to get rid of their smartphones and opt for something that brings their screen time way down. Pretty much, people are tired of rotting their brains. It's funny to call this a trend because it really is just about touching grass again. And I have so many thoughts on this as a digital designer and how to approach it. And yes, the irony is not lost on me that I am discussing a digital detox on a digital platform, but that's what's so funny. People are getting offline, filming themselves, then posting it online, and then calling it going analog. And now it's a trend. But I want to talk about going analog from a design perspective because this is not really about just doing other hobbies besides scrolling on your phone. So let's talk analog, a graphic design perspective. In this current moment, we are burnt out. We have never been so connected with the world than right now in the digital age, being inundated constantly with new information. I think the idea and desire to go back to simpler times is a natural reaction to the current state of the world. With the rise of AI in pretty much every facet of our digital lives, I can't help but wonder if people just want to return to making with our hands again. Maybe we're just tired of a bit too much convenience. Especially now in the graphic design industry, the use cases of AI are much less about assisting your process in ideation to output, but much more about generating a final result that doesn't really exist in the real world. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I don't think that we should be using AI to replace anything that we can do physically with graphic design. It should not be about creating a faux printed design or a fake environment for a design work. These designs should be physically printed or physically photographed in a real-world space. And I don't forget that mock-ups exist, especially when you don't have access to doing these projects all full out. Mock-ups are such a great way to make your work into a real-world scenario. But graphic design has always existed as a physical medium, far before it existed as a digital one. It can be traced even as far back as 3000 BC in Mesopotamia with the use of letter punches for coin imprints, or in the 12th century Jin dynasty with the creation of movable type and the start of print on paper. You could even say that Egyptian hieroglyphics are a form of graphic design, as they use images and symbols to convey messaging. In the last few hundred years, we've moved from lithographs, images drawn on a stone or metal plate and transferred using a chemical process onto paper, through to typical printing processes that we know today. So it didn't all just start with a computer. It started with our hands, and I think it's evident that people want to return to that when you look at the design trends for 2026. So with keeping my eye on what's trending and consulting some lists, I will link them below, the ones that I've pulled from. I think these current design trends really explain the state of graphic design as it pertains to going analog. Number 1, printing mistakes. The natural human touch of the printing process. Right now, we love a "my printer is running out of ink" or a "oops, I smudged it" effect, and I really do think this is the natural reaction to the perfect, albeit non-human results of AI. Sometimes we just want to be DIYing again. Objects and texture. Zooming in on what we find out in the world, and even utilizing scans of objects to incorporate into digital design work. Runny, blotchy text. Another printing effect, the imperfect run of ink. It can be done digitally, but who wouldn't want to make this by hand? Collage. This one speaks for itself. Can be done digitally, of course, but what it's trying to do is recreate the personalized scrapbook feel and heavily leans on nostalgia. And on some of these trend lists, literally going analog, using any handmade element to add to your design work. It's pretty evident within these trends that we are moving away from perfect digital design work. While it's definitely relevant that some of us feel burnt out by social media, scrolling, or AI, I think it's important from an artistic perspective to remember that these trends don't just exist in a vacuum. And this is why I love talking about our history, because it literally informs everything we do, even if the cultural relevancy is a bit different. If we want to talk about going analog in art, let's take a look back at 20th century feminist art. The feminist art movement started within the 1960s and 70s and covered an array of mediums, from photography to painting, sculpture to performance. But a large part of this movement included craft art. This was a statement to reclaim what was typically considered women's work, things like sewing, embroidery, quilting. While these handmade creations are sculptural in nature, they were often done with intention of protest, so including messaging was a large part of it. That's where graphic design is involved. When I was in university, I created a piece for my fibers class that was heavily influenced by feminist work, but also at the intersection of graphic design. It was much less focused on the pattern making aspect of fibers and much more on the social messaging and printing side. And there is so much graphic inspiration that you can take from the feminist movement, especially as graphic designers like Barbara Kruger and the Guerrilla Girls are notable figures that came out of it. Whether it's handmade or in print, the remnants of analog work from the past really informs what we're doing today. Now, you do not have to abandon digital work to participate in the analog. Print media and zines are still a great way to return to physical media, and they're still current with graphic design and art and what's happening now. Whether you are reading or designing them, zines play a crucial role in graphic design. They can be about any topic you want and often are very politically and socially engaging. When it comes to traditional magazines, they can serve as a place of true inspiration. There are some amazing print magazines out there that are definitely worth the subscription or at least the occasional purchase, and they can really act as a form of inspiration. Also a great way to get offline, get reading physical media again, and then they can also be great material for future collage work. Maybe for your own zines. It can be difficult to find some magazines out there. I mean, there are some of the traditional ones and there's some cool art ones out there, but here are some great ones that are doing great things with print. Also, don't ever feel pressured to buy when it comes to the analog trend. I have gone to the local library for magazines my entire life. I still do it and it helps me so much in my design work. We have covered a lot now when it comes to analog and graphic design, but if you take anything away from this video, let it be that you can do this. So much of traditional art making is done offline, but I think as designers, we can get really caught up in what I call social media graphic design style. It's like maybe we're all going to the same sources for our design inspiration, and most of the time that's websites like Pinterest or our Instagram explore pages, dictating what our art should look like based on getting clicks or likes. It's important to approach your design work from many different viewpoints. While I don't always like it, sketching in my notebook for my typography work improves it so much. It improves my lettering and improves my practice. Maybe it's time to revisit an old way of doing graphic design, and some of these things we discussed can kind of help you figure out where to start. Find your own way of going analog and your art will be impacted, whether that's just from finding new inspiration sources or from finding new brain clearing practices that just get you off your phone, off doom scrolling. It's so important to take time away from social media as well to just see what comes up in your artistic practice. Try this. Take time away from social media and see what comes up organically from your ideas within. Or take time away from your computer entirely and see what you can come up with within the umbrella of graphic design that isn't done digitally. That's what I'm working on now, and it is very rewarding. I hope you liked this video about going analog and kind of this new video essay style where I chat about artistic topics. I am feeling very inspired right now to script these videos out and kind of do it in a new way. So let me know what you think by giving this video a like and letting me know in the comments. I love to chat with you guys in the comments. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!